Today we're assassinating Hitler. We have 2 snipers on both the north and east buildings. Right now we're just waiting for the orders to fire. Wait. Shit, I mixed up the scripts. Did you notice something weird about this weapon? Something strange that can only be noticed once it's pointed out. Yeah, that's right. This weapon is the only weapon that's not a reskin of the stock that doesn't have any stats shown. Now the point of this video is not to review the Huntsman. This video is going to be exposing the Huntsman's hidden stats, because not having stats on a weapon means it's a reskin of the stock. However, the Huntsman is nowhere near similar to the stock and is probably the most different primary compared to all of the other sniper rifles combined, yet it still has no stats shown. Now the reason I say this is because by just comparing the wiki stats, I found that the Huntsman charges 70% faster, does 20% less charge crit and mini crit damage, while charging the player moves 18% faster, projectiles have no damage fall off, travel distance and arc depends on how long you charge, and including all of the other mechanics that you probably already know about, the Huntsman is nowhere near similar to the stock, and yet it has no stats either. If you're wondering how I found these stats, all I did was compare the stats of both the sniper rifle and the Huntsman and use some math to figure out the percentages. Once I figured out how different the Huntsman really is, making this video was as easy peasy as stealing candy from a piece of cake. Even with so many differences, the Huntsman still just has a blank patch under its name. It's weird to consider that the Huntsman is the only projectile primary in the sniper's arsenal with completely different stats, yet it decides to show none of them. Looking at the new stats of the Huntsman, compared to the sniper rifle, the Huntsman is kinda like a close-range alternative for the sniper, because to headshot with the sniper rifle, you'll have to scope in, and scoping in at close range won't really work out. As for the Huntsman, your shots charge faster, no scope in required for headshots, and your projectiles have a much larger hitbox. The Huntsman is made for medium to close range combat because unlike the sniper rifle, the Huntsman's projectile arc and travel time make it extremely hard to hit moving targets at a distance. All I'm saying is that the sniper rifle is kinda made for long range to medium range combat because it excels in doing so, and the Huntsman excels in medium range to close range combat because once again, trying to hit a moving target that's far away with a projectile that has an arc and travel time is extremely hard. The real question is, knowing these stats, how well will the Huntsman do in competitive? And the answer is, I really have no idea what I'm talking about, plus I don't main sniper or have even played competitive, so my opinion on this subject is invalid, so I'm just gonna move on. I know not having stats on the Huntsman won't really change anything, as the Huntsman hasn't had any stats for a couple of years now. However, it doesn't make sense for the most different primary weapon compared to the stock to not have any stats shown. Adding stats to the Huntsman will give players a better understanding of the weapon, so why not have stats on the Huntsman? Now the biggest question I have is why the Huntsman doesn't have any stats even though it's so different compared to the stock. And when I actually did, bring the same question up with my friends and actually showed them my findings, and they were asking the same question. One of the theories my friend Flathead had was that the Huntsman was actually a type of, stock bow and arrow. So in a way the sniper was meant to have 2 stock primaries, and if they were to add more primary bow and arrows, they'd give them stats, but they wouldn't give any stats to Huntsman because the Huntsman's a kind of, bow and arrow basic stock, a balanced stock weapon, and they're kind of working off of the Huntsman. In conclusion, here is me pasting the stats onto my technically vintage professional killstreak Huntsman that I'm going to be giving away to any lucky comment on this video. So go down and comment below. It's not fake, and I'm gonna be giving it away. And trust me, it's real. Also, if you're wondering how school went, I actually just graduated from high school and I did finish formal, which is prom for all you spoilt Americans out there. And I've also just entered the holidays. Also, in my last video, a couple of you guys wanted to know my age. I'm actually 16, which is a year younger than my fellow graduates. But the reason I probably sound a bit older than my actual age might be because I'm a bit too close to my mic. See now if I, back out and move away, I probably sound a bit different, right?